our futures are linked and that our lives are all at stake. Probably many of you have heard the chant this week, tick, tick, tick. And I think that's well and good, but I wanted to just offer something else here today. Said by a fellow Nobel Peace Prize winner to President Obama. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "The time is always right to do what is right." And we are here today to say to our president that the time is right for climate justice. The U.S. is in fact the trump card in the global talks around climate change. If we fail to act justly, the whole world will suffer. The time is right, and the time is now for climate justice. And in fact, President Obama, we've given you a head start because we've defined what climate justice is. And I'm just going to read a few quick points. So 1, it's rapid, deep reductions in emissions at the source in the United States through an immediate ramp down of U.S. consumption load without offsets. The time is right for climate justice. It is recognition and payment of reparations or climate debt to the global south through a transparent funding source rather than through multilateral development institutions such as the World Bank, because thus far they have failed to provide sustainable development pathways for the global south. Now is the right time for climate justice. We want President Obama and the U.S. delegation to operationalize all implementation language and the UNFCCC based on rights declarations, convents, and conventions, whether or not they've been ratified by the United States, including the Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, the International Convent on Civil and Political Rights, the International Convent on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and the Convention on Biodiversity, particularly in the implementation of Language of Red. Now is the right time for climate justice. Acknowledge the traditional knowledge of grassroots communities who are and will be the first to feel the burden of climate change, and take this knowledge, along with the most current science, as the basis for policy decisions. Now is the right time for climate justice. And finally, ensure space for the real engagement and participation of our communities, for whom concepts of sustainability and resilience are not new. Now is the right time for climate justice. So we're going to hear today from folks across the U.S. who come from frontline communities, who work with frontline communities, who are going to talk to you about what is the urgency of what we're dealing with today. What is the urgency around our government acting justly and acting now for climate justice? I'm going to ask Michelle Roberts to come up.
Hello. My name is Michelle Roberts, and I am the Campaign and Policy Coordinator for Advocates for Environmental Human Rights. Our mission is to uphold our human right to live in a healthy environment. We hold companies and the government accountable when this right is violated, and we advocate for public policy that supports this right. With every step, we educate people about their environmental human rights. Over the course of these next 3 days of this international conference, President Obama and other world leaders will be meeting here in Copenhagen to reach agreement on climate change treaty. We believe that an effective climate change treaty should function like a global insurance policy that curbs emission levels to 350 parts per million and prioritizes protections for communities in the United States and around the world that are in the crosshairs of climate change effects. This is the system change that we need. Many communities in the United States and around the world suffer from disastrous climate conditions like hurricanes and severe drought, and are vulnerable to the harmful effects of climate change and carbon-inducive industries. We need our world leaders to demonstrate their accountability to to live in a healthy community. The adverse impact of human-induced change causes gross violations of human rights, as many have witnessed along the Gulf Coast with respect to Hurricanes Katrina, Rita, Gustav, and all the others. In April 2009, groups came together across in New Orleans, groups who have been impacted by all of these toxics, groups such as gender justice, reproductive justice, environmental justice. Various groups came together to develop a core set of principles that we would like to see in our national and international treaties. These principles will be displayed over the course of the next 3 days as a message to the world that this is the change that we need. Absolutely. President Obama, we believe that together, yes, we can. Woo! But we must have a very tight and accountable policy that protects the least of these. Yes. After all, we must protect Mother Earth, our fragile island home. Yes, we can. Together. Woo! Yes, we can curb these emissions. Yes, we can reduce them 350 degrees. Oh, President Obama, we need you to protect communities such as Mossville, Louisiana. We need you to protect communities such as Bayview, Hunters Point in San Francisco. We need you to protect communities who are in harm's way such as Wilmington, Delaware. We need you to protect Dixon, Tennessee. We need you to protect our brothers and sisters in Appalachia. Clean coal is America's dirtiest little lie. President Obama, the onus is on you and all of the other industrialized nations. We need the change that we can believe in. We need it, and we need it now. Thank you.